Do you trust your crypto assets to centralized exchanges that actively sell your private information and front run your trades? Would you like to buy and sell your assets without any middlemen, intermediaries, or robots? Do you like paying slippage, fees, and having the price go up as bots steal from you on low liquidity decentralized exchanges? The solution is nodemarket.io. Set your guaranteed buy or sell price. No middlemen, no slippage, no bots ever. Buy or sell 1, 10, or even 10 million tokens, and you never have to worry. OTC trades are between you and the seller or buyer, guaranteed by audited smart contracts and no human middlemen. Nodemarket.io.
Hello. Let's see. Oh, I took the liberty of passing over Howard's morning spat. Let's see what's going on. Ooh, Bitcoin's over 70K. What? Hello. I'm scanning for early questions. Okay. Yeah. So if you have any questions, write the word question. That will let me know that you have a question. No, I have to go immediately after here. I have to go and meet somebody for a boxing. So figured I'd streamline. Got to streamline these days, my friends. Got to streamline. Let's see. Hello. All right. What's going on? I guess we could take a quick look at the markets. We'll just take a gander. How about that? Since there's no early questions. Okay, it keeps saying, I have an app, and the app keeps saying, 70K. Well, it did hit 70K a few minutes ago, but that was quite a while ago. Let's see where we're at here. 69.7. Same difference. Basically, the total market cap 2.6. So we're about 400 billion away from what I would consider an actual bull market. See the T, and then everything else is the B's. So yeah. So that's kind of cool. That'll be fun. Was there anything interesting? Not really. I mean, if you look out to 30 days, you start to see some numbers, but really on the 7-day, nothing super extravagant, nothing exciting. Bitcoin's just, I guess, for a lot of people, the 70K mark seems to be something incredibly, meaningful, but I think all numbers are just numbers. I don't think, people do fixate on whole numbers and integers and things like that, but let's see. No, Howard, stick to fish. Question, when next Toofy interview? Whenever Toofy wants to do an interview. I don't have control over that. He's busy. You know that Hypercycle at this point has either 15 or 16 joint venture projects that they're working on. Well, I know they're on number 16. I think there's 15 official. I know they're working on 16 because 16 is one that I plugged in just recently. Well, recently, a month and a half ago. A month ago? Anyway, that could be a cool one, especially as people are looking for places to put their nodes. So that'll be kind of cool. Obviously, hyperring, woo woo, hyperring, and then eventually crypto ring. Also cool. So we'll see. Crypto ring is the crypto version of it. The hyper ring. It's not specifically crypto. So it can do all sorts of things, like what I did on mine. Here, I'll show you. Well, I won't show you, but I'll kind of show you. So what I did on this one is, you know how there's several dots, and you can these are the kind of tester ones. So there's one dot, you can see one dot, and then as you rotate it, you get there's a 2 and a 3, these little dots. Those are for the NFC chips. You can program them right there on your computer. So well, not computer, on your phone, which yes, is a computer, but you can program it right on your phone. You get the NFC app, and it's NFC Tools. It's a little orange app. You download it, and then it gives you click on right, and it gives you a variety of different options, different kinds of links that you can do. One that's really cool that many of you may want to do is called Linkle, which sounds bad, but Lynkle. If you go there, you can put all of your everything there, your social media, your email, your phone, all that kind of stuff. Put it all in one link. It'll link to Linkle, where you'll have your profile. You put that link as a URL, you copy and paste that, and then you put that URL right there. And then when you go bink on someone's phone, and normally it's near the front-facing camera. So the front-facing, see where it's blinking? So that's almost always right around there is where the NFC reader is, at least on the iPhone. So you click, well, I think you have to have the phone turned on. Boop, there it is. And then it says NFC tag detected. And then it says open, like this one is open, you can't see it, open node market. See that? OpenNodeMarket.io. Yeah. So I have one set to Node Market. I have one set to my my little Linkle thing, and then one's just my phone. I think one is my email. I have to look. But anyway, you have 3, and 3 is cool. 3 is fun. Okay. What should we do with our unstaked AGIX tokens at this point? Nothing. Right now, you wait. Whenever this official thing happens, official, unofficial, whatever thing happens on the 13th, they'll open up bridges. The bridge is going to pay you for bridging a ratio. That ratio, I believe, is 0.4332 or 0.43332. Anyway, it's a bullshit number that Mario came up with that's not at all reflective of the real price comparison between those assets over more than 15 days. They took 15 days of data. 15 days, because obviously the history of a company can be measured in 15 days. Why would you want more data than that? And the difference is because if you go back further, it's 50%. It's a 50% difference. You would have been getting 50% more AGIX had they gone back 6, 12, 18 months, whatever, up to 50%. I think 35 to 50% more. So obviously there was some horse trading, I guess. And the people at Fetch thought that their token was worth more anyway. They were like, no, it's worth more than the math. So my guess is that that Mario bent the knee and said, fine, 15 days. Because, I mean, Mario's lazy, but he's not stupid. He wouldn't, and he has a lot of AGI that they have a lot of AGIX tokens over at Singularity DAO. They wouldn't willfully give those tokens away, which they did in this. But the part that frustrates me is that they gave away all of our tokens too. I'm not a big fan of that. Anyway, the ratio you get is 0.4332 or 0.4332. Fetch tokens, which are converting to ASI. So ASI tokens per every one AGIX token. Okay, so you can kind of math that out. That's why we told everyone, don't sell your tokens unless the current ratio is better than that. right? Because I think it kind of floated around 0.41, 0.42 for the longest time, meaning you would lose 5 to 6% versus just waiting when they open these bridges up, you'll be able to bridge, and basically you'll send your AGIX tokens across a bridge and you will receive the ASI token, which again is the rebranded fetch token. Cool. Which is, since fetch is currently listed on almost every exchange, I would assume that this ASI token will be listed on almost every exchange. So that's kind of cool. That should make trading easier for a lot of people that have been frustrated. There is some frustration because all of these assets are all over the place. You have to have 500 different wallets to do it. And that's why one of the reasons why at Node Market, we grab some of these kind of trickier assets to find and we throw them on there. Yay. Also, though, it's a place to trade those assets where you're not at a centralized exchange. There's no custody. This is the biggest deal, is that there's no one's holding your stuff. Your stuff is in your wallet until you want someone else's stuff, and you sell your stuff for their stuff in terms of their stuff. A true kind of over-the-counter exchange. Yay. All right. So that's what we got with that. You just wait until either you get a better ratio or you just wait for the bridge. Wait for the bridge. Okay. If you minted an NFT on June 3rd, do you still get a ring? If you minted an NFT on June 3rd, which is yesterday, yes, you do. Did you see the little form thing? Let me go back to mint. See here, mint a Node Market NFT after June 3rd and claim a hyperring. I mean, I think you still get it because we said we were going to start doing this on Friday. Remember, we did the coin toss and all that. So I would just click that button and go through that claim process. And if it's not working for you, then tell Brandon, and he and I will agree to honor that. This probably says after June 3rd because maybe they were making this, the developers were making this little thing yesterday, and they were like, okay, after today. But yes, see these little onesies? Yay, you get it. 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 Yes, you get it. You get it. Okay. All right. Hope that sorted that out. Go back to these old markets right here. Yay. All right. What else? What do we got? I have an early question. If my node hits, 11 is referring to Hypercycle node license. And when you marry the tokens with the license, you then have a node that processes AI transactions between AI machines in the Internet of AI. So Hypercycle is an asset that allows you to participate in the Internet of AI. Hypercycle is not the Internet of AI. The Internet of AI is going to be thousands of companies, millions of companies, like obviously, right? It should be absurdly clear. But many components in the Internet of AI, like the distribution of data, the protection of data, encryption, privacy, whatever, and processing transactions. So your Hypercycle node license becomes a compute node. So when they say, if my node, that's what a node is, hits a rating of 2.0, is it guaranteed to split? Yes. And so what does that mean? All of these nodes, when you plug them in, if they had no history, if they were brand new, fresh nodes, you married them with the tokens and you pointed them at some hardware, you plugged them in, they would start tilling. Tilling is like showing a heartbeat. It's like calling in saying, hey, I'm available for work. Is there any work? Not yet, but I'm available. When the compute era rolls out, which is, when they're ready, then you'll have a variety of metrics that your node will be doing because it'll be performing compute tasks. And so as with that, you'll have an uptime score. You'll have a compute score, based on your hardware and your tasks that you're completing and all that kind of stuff. You kind of have this overall reputational score. That overall reputational score, as it moves from 1 to 2, you will get closer and closer to that integer of 2. When you get to that 2, your node splits. Boop. It's now 2 nodes. Now, originally, when you married the nodes, you put 1,024 Hypercycle tokens and you married them to your Hypercycle node license. when you're doing all of these things and it's in production and it splits, you would now have two nodes that have half as many tokens because the tokens split. So your 1,024 tokens go to 512 in each node. That continues to happen every time you get to a score of or a rating of 2.0 whatever or better. Once you cross into the 2 threshold, that integer, you split again and again and again and again. And those continue to happen, those mitoses, until you have 1,024 nodes, each with 1 token. Now, all of those nodes are still functional. They're still doing compute tasks. Obviously, it's likely that you would have to scale up your hardware because it's kind of like like having a coffee shop. If you open another coffee shop next door, you still have to staff it, put beans, plumb it with electricity. Like it has to be a fully functional store. People are not going to go buy coffee in an empty store. I mean, if they do, they're crazy. So yeah, so you would still have to keep expanding your compute hardware. But if you're doing that, every time you get to a 2, it splits. It can happen as quickly as 6 months, or, I mean, as long as your stuff's plugged in and you're just not being completely stupid, as slowly as 18 months. Most people, I'm guessing, is going to be 6 to 12 months. And what's going to happen is those nodes that have split, that time, that embedded time is going to be worth a lot. Once they've split, once you start seeing splits, that embedded time, I think, starts to become worth a lot because it's like, oh man, I have to start over. I have to start from 0, or I could buy, anyway. So that's why the marketplace for nodes, we think, is going to be a good one. And that's going to be at Node Market. And by the way, all the people with your NFTs are going to share in all of the revenue, all that goes when people are buying and selling and trading node licenses. Even right now, the fees generated when people buy or sell a node license, like when you're like a reseller, all that goes back to you guys. All that goes. So if you go exchange, let's see, market, look at all these cool nodes. So these are from people. These are people are listing these. And when they sell, the part of that sale is a fee. The fee goes to the node license all of the Node Market NFT holders. Yay. And so those are typically, obviously those are going to be bigger ticket items, especially when you have in production married licenses. So this is what's going to happen soon too, is you're going to start seeing these bundles with actual nodes that are functional and that have already married the tokens. So instead of this thing being like, $43,000, it might be that plus whatever the price of 524,288 tokens. So there's another 250K, 275K on top of that. So those are big ticket items, and they would create a cool little fee that all the Node Market NFT holders get to. You get that. That's y'all. You get that. All right. So yeah, we don't know when compute starts. It starts when it starts. I mean, they're doing a lot of testing. They're doing compute in a testing environment. I just don't know when they will feel ready to roll it out to us. The original timeline was September, but they thought they could push it out sooner. And they had a client that was onboarding. Oh, look, we're at 70K. They had a client that was onboarding in January. And so the idea was, hey, we could roll out compute in January. But I think what they found is it was very cumbersome to deploy. And I'm skipping a lot of things here because there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. But one of the things going on behind the scenes is we need some kind of installing function where instead of taking, 3 weeks to onboard a company, it might take 3 or 4 hours. And so they've been working on Aimifier, which is this product that does that. So kind of installation function where, and it does a lot of other things too. Anyway, they're doing that. And they're also trying to make the onboarding experience for people so much easier. Remember, if you go to HyperPG and try to marry tokens and all that kind of stuff, you can do it. You can physically do it. It's very difficult. It's very cumbersome. So we're working on refining that process as well. Okay, cool. Do we send Brandon our ring size? No, these rings are a one size ring. You just figure out which finger it works on. What I'm going to actually do, I mean, I'm just wearing it because it's kind of fun, but I'm going to put on a necklace. And it'll be a necklace, and then I'll just hold my phone like that and do it like I'm cool. What? Anyway, there's that. So yeah, send your ring size is not yet important. Now for the designer ones, there's a designer one that's coming out that's got like gems. It's like some Gucci type thing. That's pretty badass. That will be there. Yeah, they would do your ring size. That would be a much more boutique, bespoke experience. But this is just like program it, play with it. Man, when you go to in NFC tools, there's tons of stuff you can do. Like my buddy got his, he used shortcuts in his iPhone. Just Jules did this. He got shortcuts in his iPhone. He used his ring through these shortcuts and some little links to turn on his Tesla. So he can just be like, boom. Pretty cool, right? Anyway, yeah. Let's see. Hypercycle's partnering with NVIDIA for gaming compute. That's not true. I mean, I've not heard of that directly. I mean, indirectly, everybody's partnering with everybody, but partnering, no. Are there people from NVIDIA that are part of Hypercycle's advisory committee? Yes. Are there people very high up in NVIDIA that are part of Hypercycle? Yes. But is there an actual partnership? No. So I would not start spreading that out there. Now, if Hypercycle is doing some testing or performing some function, that's not a partnership. That's some kind of testing thing. So just be very careful what you read. People tend to expand on reality sometimes. All right, let's see. For every 100,000 AGIX tokens, you'll get about 43. Yes, that's correct. Now, those tokens, as far as I understand, I mean, the easiest way to manage those is going to be to manage those in Cosmos Station. And Cosmos Station is just, the fees are just, Cosmos is awesome. It's really weird to me, as awesome as Cosmos is, how little kind of marketing or just kind of exposure they get. It's way better than, I mean, it's just one of the best layer ones. It's great. And everything looks really nice. So their front end, like they're developed, their team that rolls out, and it's a lot of teams. Obviously, it's a lot of participants, a lot of different developers, and they're all financially incentivized, but their stuff looks real cool. It looks way cooler than Cardano. It looks like, God, I pull open, every time I look at Daedalus, let me just pop it open just to see if, it just doesn't look good. It's okay, but it's not like classy. It's just kind of big old bag of nothing. It's cool that it works, but I don't know, man. It's just not clean and elegant, and just everything about Cosmos is clean and elegant. So that's what I keep coming back to. All right. So yes, you'll get your tokens and you'll be able to stake them. And I'm guessing the staking is going to be somewhat well, who knows? Because now you have these other projects to think about. Yeah, they'll probably spin that staking down to something more in the 4 to 6 range. Right now, it's like 9 and change %. What is the advantage, if any, that FIT21 doesn't pass? There's no advantage that it doesn't pass. It's just not likely to pass. All this stuff's become an election issue. So when are they going to talk about it? It's closer to an election. So no, there's no advantage. The advantage would be that it passes now and everything goes effing nuts. And we get something that looks a lot like a bull market for many, many months. I mean, obviously, what would be whatever the price of Bitcoin is, if Biden loses, it probably goes up by 10% the moment the vote is in. Like the second the vote is in, if Bitcoin's at 100K, it's 110K. If it's at $1 million, it's at 1.1 million. If it's whatever the price of Bitcoin is, if Biden loses, and again, I ain't got no horse in this race, except that I own crypto. And if you do too, you might not be happy about the little side deals that Biden made with Elizabeth Warren to choke the fucking shit out of crypto and stick it to everybody, because apparently they know better than everyone else. Even though they went to school when TV was black and white, that's when these assholes went to school. They have no fucking clue how the world works. None. They've never run a business. They've never had to. Their whole life has been politicking and doing back-end deals and investing on information that was private, that was disclosed to them, to these politicians, and that for some reason, for them, it's not illegal to trade on it, whereas the rest of us would fucking go to jail. And these are the people that are telling us how the future is supposed to look. They can't even see straight. They gargle fucking Geritol. So anyway, it's like, so those are that's who, if they go away, and eventually they'll go away just because, they're not going to live forever because they're old as dirt. But like, if they go away, the world probably looks a lot different. I'm not saying the other alternative is good. It's like which broken finger do you want to cut off? Like they're awful. It's just you're just trying to pick the leper with the most fingers left, right? Or the hillbilly with the most teeth. So Fit 21, it's already passed the House quite convincingly. You would imagine it will pass Senate, kind of like the other thing that just got nuked by Biden. Because why would you need the Constitution? It's not that important. Just let the SEC make the rules as they go. Just let them make up the rules. Why do you need Congress and why do you need the whole legislative branch? It's not like they do anything. So anyway, yeah, it's not good for us. It would be better if this thing happened sooner, but it's not likely to happen. All right. Let's see. And to marry and run a node, do we have to give KYC? No. No, you do not, Ryan. You do not. You set up a Web3 wallet. You fund it with Ethereum. You then fund it with whatever currency units you want to get hypercycle tokens. You then purchase through USDC a node license. You will then marry your hypercycle 1024 hypercycle tokens with that license, and voila, pointed at some equipment, and off you go. Off you go. Okay. With the node splitting, has Hypercycle team developed a hardware scaling plan so that the hardware providers can keep up? That's on the hardware providers. Remember, Hypercycle is not, they're not, so, in the same way that AT&T is not your phone's Apple hardware. That's the hardware. That's who would, if you had somebody running the hardware, that's on them. That's not on Hypercycle. That doesn't even, if you really think about that, if you really kind of take it to the extremely simple, why would Hypercycle have anything to do with the physical hardware? It just wouldn't. It just doesn't make any sense. Like the electric company doesn't care what stereo you use. It's the electric company. It's the rails. So I just think the way you need to look at it is Hypercycle is the rails, what the individual equipment and things like that. If you're delegating to somebody else to run the equipment, then it's on them to scale up their equipment. Or, and it's also conceivable that Hypercycle is not the entire, hardware capacity of any one facility, and that they have plenty of room to scale. Yeah. That's the way I look at it. Let's see. How and who will do the R token delegation? Well, when you marry your tokens to your nodes. So when you marry 1024 Hypercycle tokens to a Hypercycle license, you get those as a stack of tokens, and you're going to get this wrapped basket of assets. You're going to get all of your R tokens and all of your S tokens. You will be the one to delegate those if you choose to. Most people won't ever mess with it, but if you were going to, you would do it. No one else. They're yours. They're yours to do with as you please. Could check Gary Network? No, the name is stupid. No, the way I check stuff out is I go through the news all the time. And if I see people starting to use something, then I'll go look at it. I don't ever care to be the very first, like so early that no one's used the thing. And I'm going to, for investing sake, if you're looking at regular tokens that you don't have an inside angle on, like the private clients, sometimes we get an inside angle. Like companies will approach us and say, hey, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Yeah, okay. Let's talk. Let's chop it up. That's how we got Hypercycle and Sophiaverse. And we had an opportunity to get Reju, but I wasn't interested in it because it looked stupid. And it looked stupid and it looked expensive. I mean, we still would have made a little bit of money, but it still looked stupid. We got in early on Singularity DAO before it looked stupid like it does now. That would not be the case now. But we got in on NewNet, which we thought was going to be a real company. And again, now it looks kind of stupid, but we made money on it because it had a run. So again, on those early plays, we do good. Yay. Look at us doing good because we were kind of inside, true AGI inside doing good. Twin protocol, which looks really cool. For those of you that haven't checked out that newsletter, go check it out. They're going to do some specialized little twin newsletter things for us at Node Market. So that'll be kind of cool. I'm trying to get them to get me one where it'll announce the TGE. So hopefully that's on the horizon. I've been poking them with that. So we'll see. But yeah, other than that, what I do is I just go out and just pilfer the news every day. I just go read all the news and pilfer it. And then I also have GPT-4 Omni go strain it for me. Although this morning I couldn't log into Omni. It wasn't working. I wanted to talk to Omni while I was doing cardio. And it was not around to talk to. And I felt pretty damn lonely. I'm going to be honest with you. Pretty damn lonely. Now that I got my computer buddy. Okay, question. What happens after the 10th split? It stays at that. The 10th split is as far as it splits because you need at least one full token per node license. The token is the wrapper. Does that make sense? Like the token, a Hypercycle token, this is the token. It's like a Pac-Man. Those little dots, that's a transaction or data. It wraps that, it sends it, and it comes back. So it's like a little delivery vehicle. It's a wrapper. So you need at least one per node. So yeah, 10 splits. So yeah, 1,024 times your revenue per node license is all they're going to give you for. Can you imagine? Sheesh. 1,024 times anything is pretty good. Even one node, if it was doing $10 a month. I mean, again, we don't know, but let's just say $10 a month. That times 1,024, that's pretty good. It's $10,240 a month. A lot of people that don't make that, right? That's one. The average node license bundle is 8. That's the average that people have purchased. I think it's 8. I have to ask Brandon again. He would know that, but I think 8 was the normal one, the most likely to be purchased. So now you're making $80 a month. Now you're making what? 80 almost $82,000 a month. $82,000. If you can't make it off $82,000 a month, buddy, you've got some fiscal responsibility issues. You're, what is it? All these words. I was going to do a show where I just talked about all these stupid terms and what they really mean. Like food insecurity, balance sheet instability, housing insecurity. Oh, that's easy. Housing insecurity. I live on the fucking street. I'm homeless. Yeah, it's not insecurity, bro. They're not insecure. They're fucking cold. They sleep on cardboard. Food insecurity. I don't have food. I'm hungry. I'm starving. It's better than starving, right? No, food insecurity. They're food insecure. Bitch, they're not food insecure. They have no food. They eat out of a trash can. That's not insecurity. Insecurity is a girl that wears too much makeup or take those shots to make the lips look like a duck. What? That's a whole other thing. That's a whole other thing. We're not going to go down that path. But stop. Any of you out there injecting your lips, stop. Stop. Just stop. And then the one I was laughing at yesterday, they were talking about balance sheet. Balance sheet. What was it? Not insecurity. Balance sheet scrutiny or something like that. Some term that basically it isn't that people aren't spending. They're really scrutinizing their balance sheet. Let's scrutinize. Yeah, you scrutinize it and realize you have no money, so you quit buying stuff. This is on like the corporate level. Because Salesforce came out. We talked about this the other day with the worst earnings since 2006, and not good guidance. So their stock just like collapsed in one day, down 20% in one day. And then a lot of these companies right now are like, oh, it's just a lot of balance sheet scrutiny. There's a lot of balance sheet scrutiny. Oh, really? Really? That's what it is? Balance sheet scrutiny, huh? No, bitch, they're not spending money. This company's going backwards. And so, delay and pray. Just delay the news and pray for a better outcome. And we talked about this too around Christmas. We said, listen, these companies all saying things are rosy and that things are going to get better. At some point, after you say things are going to get better, if a quarter later you report and things didn't get better, you have some explaining to do. You got some explaining to do. So everybody's going to get held to their word at some point. And when they can't say anything, what do? They're like, oh crap. Well, it's not that we missed the quarter. It's that we have a lot of balance sheet scrutiny that both us and our clients. Right. Scrutiny. They ain't buying your stuff, bro. Maybe start making the Fruit Loops the same size as they used to be instead of sticking it to us on Fruit Loops and putting them in a little tiny thing. Stop it. I want my Fruit Loops back. Really irks me. Another thing we did get back. Does anybody like Honeycomb, which is maybe between Honeycomb and Pops, two of the best cereals that have ever been in existence ever since the dawn of man? Like with the first bowl of Honeycomb, probably millions of years ago, 2.6 million years ago, the first bowl of Honeycomb until now. They had changed up the ingredient. They had changed it up a few years ago to like be more like other cereals, and it was terrible. And I boycotted my favorite cereal of all time, Honeycomb. Favorite of all time. But they went back. Honeycomb is back, baby. Well, I haven't had any in about 6 months. So if they haven't done anything drastic in 6 months, hopefully they haven't had balance sheet scrutiny that's forced them to shrinkflate those little snacks too. You say, why are you talking about these things? Why are you dithering? Because the state of the economy is important. We're in an investment market. You can't ignore the macro for this tiny little space of illiquid assets on illiquid exchanges traded by sketchy individuals. You can't just ignore all that. So the macro does matter. So anyway, now what's going to happen? We're going to cut rates. Yeah, that's great. Well, not really. Cutting rates doesn't do anything. Like there's plenty of scholarship and study on this. Cutting rates, raising rates, none of it does anything. None of it. So that's not great. And then you say, oh yeah, but the psychological effect, it's all performance theater. Okay. Everybody thinks. No, not everybody, because we also talked about it. The real world that people live in sucks. Cutting rates, raising rates does nothing. Nothing. Quantitative easing does nothing because it's not putting money in your pocket. Quantitative easing is not stimmy checks. Stimmy checks like COVID checks, money in people's pockets, that money makes it to the market. That creates price impacts for sure. And if it's prolonged and it propagates out, yes, you're going to get price effects. We're seeing it, right? We're seeing it wear off. But stimulus, government QE, are balance sheet mechanisms. The buying and selling of government bonds, right? Buying them off the market. Strip mining quality collateral, by the way, which could be argued to be completely the opposite of what they're trying to do. Does that have an effect? No. Does it have a psychological effect in the stock market? Yes. Is the stock market the world that we live in? No. How many people participate in the stock market? 56%. 56? 56 or 58%. Okay, cool. So no. Yeah. I'm trying to think what the number. No, it's not that. I think those are retirement numbers. I think it's when it all boils. Let's say it's 50%, just for the sake of argument. I have to go back to that. We did a show a week or so ago where we talked about those numbers. But let's say it's half. Half of America participates. Of that half, did you know that 10%, 1 in 6, what's the best way to say it? 90% of the stock is owned by the top 10% of those holders. So in the small group of people in America that actually own equities and that have retirement accounts, things like that, they're not really even part of the burgeoning economy because out of them, 10%, 1 in 10 of them own 90% of those equities. And of those equities that they own, if you look at all the companies in America, only 1 out of every 100 companies is even represented with publicly available stock and equity. So you keep reducing this and you realize the stock market fucking means nothing. And if that small group of nothing run by a few people, let's be honest, if they experience some material gain while everyone else is getting shit on, that doesn't sound like that's not like a Goldilocks economy. Oh, everything's awesome. No, Powell, everything's awesome when you're a rich prick that can invest on insider information and you always win. It's not so fucking good for the insecure, the housing insecure, the balance sheet scrutinizing, food insecure, other 99% of the whole fucking planet. Like it's absurd. And so when you hear these guys talk, it would be cool if your TV had a thing where like a hologram would appear and you could punch the shit out of it. Wouldn't it be awesome every time Jerome Powell or Janet Yellen lie, like just straight up lie, that you could punch their hologram face and it would just explode into like a rainbow? It'd be awesome. Someone make that. Someone's getting rich. Yeah. So the macro does matter. You got to factor it. Okay. Question: 51 billion unrealized losses hitting U.S. banking system as FDIC warns 63 lenders on the brink of insolvency. Okay, Kirill, that's an actual good question, and that's a long discussion because the funding program, I think it's BTFP, the Bank Term Funding Program, which was. They were gaming it. So a lot of this is a longer discussion, probably discussion for another time, but yes, I think there's a big deal there. I think the FDIC is borderline insolvent. They would need, well, of course they would just get funded through the treasury, but that would be another cash creation thing. And I think it's kind of a bunch of things. I think it's commercial CRE and CMO. That problem is coming to bear. We'll probably hear a lot more about that coming forward. And to keep this like simple for everyone, the commercial real estate market's really bad. Lenders have been getting beaten up pretty bad. There's a bunch of losses that are coming. The BTFP was a program where banks and members of the Fed's little system of silliness would extend credit and credit availability, kind of like the discount window was to companies. And they were encouraging, they were even going to think about making banks use the funding window, the discount window, which they changed it to primary credit. So it didn't sound as bad as the discount window, which had the stigma. But BTFP was a program, a pretty new program. And what happened is people were gaming it. They were just doing a carry trade kind of thing on it, where they were borrowing and then they were, with the borrowed money, they were lending and they were catching the spread, just like a little arbitrage. They could just do it all day long. And then finally the Fed kind of and rolled that down. Anyway, and by the way, none of this was the Fed's money. Again, the Fed's not a money dealer. This is money from the Treasury. All these kind of machinations are dreamt up and managed by the Fed, but they're not the Fed. The Fed is not a money dealer. They don't deal in money. They never have, which is weird, but they don't. So the FDIC is not the Fed. That's the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I think they were down to the billions. They get funded, obviously, like everything else. They would get funded through the Treasury or through some program. But when BTFP ended recently, and you had a lot of banks hitting that thing over and over, it was speculated that not all of that. Yeah, I think it is a lot more. It's like $500 billion. But anyway, it was speculated that not all of them are doing some kind of cool arbitrage carry trade, that some of these banks are in trouble and they just keep accessing the BTFP because they need that funding. So when that ends, and it's ended, and that money's run out, and they have to, and those loans come due, and they have to pay those back. Be a lot of people, like Kirill said, on the brink of insolvency. So you have illiquidity, meaning I have assets, but I can't get them liquid. And then you have insolvency. I ain't got cash. I ain't liquid. I have no assets. I am fiscally insecure. I am currency insecure. They're not calling anyone saying they're insecure. They're like, we're broke, man, dude. We are broke. This is it. This is it. It's Armageddon. Give us some money. And see, they can't normally, if they're at this point, they probably don't have anything they could lend into repo, because no one's going to go to the discount window or primary credit or whatever they're going to call it now. If they have anything, any asset that they could lend into repo, they'll just go to repo. That's the biggest funding market in the world. But if you go to repo and they say you put your collateral up, you're like, check it out. What do you guys think? And they're like, nah, man, that's just a crappy camera cover. They're like, no, it has a little springs on it. They're like, no, man, that's not worth shit. You got to bring us some other collateral. You can't lend that. Crap. No one wants your crap. So you got a bunch of banks where you got a bunch of lenders that no one wants their crap. If they can't go to repo and get funding, they're toast, dude. They're toast, because there's some crap collateral floating around repo. So that's not good. And that could be a thing. I mean, listen, how many banks failed 2007, 2008? Not a lot of banks, some big ones, but it was enough to cause the world to panic. But 6 months later, you had Bitcoin. I don't know. So it's pretty interesting. Let's see. Let me see if we got any other questions. Oh, Howard, you're asking the same question. It has nothing to do with crypto, buddy. Keep it crypto. Keep it AI. Do you think hypercycle tokens will ever be able to be broken down into something like Satoshis once the supply is used up? No, I don't think that's the way it would work. I mean, it still has to be onesies. It takes one token. Token is a wrapper. And so you need, after all the splits, 1,024 nodes have split down after 10 splits from one. And if you do the math, it's like 1, 2, 4, 8. 1632, 124, 260, 256, 512, 1024. So it goes all the way out. 10 splits is 1024 independent, but you need a full token. What could you do if, there could be another hypercycle network that would be set up. I mean, if there's a desire for that much compute, ideally you get the first network to full robust compute where everybody split all their nodes and they're doing as much. So there'd be like 5 or 7 years down the road. Everybody's doing like full on hardcore compute, and that whole network is just as big as it can get. Obviously, some tokens will be lost to dust and lost wallets and crap like that, the kind of stuff and some tokens will just be traded all the time. They won't be pushed into the ecosystem. So you'd figure you'd probably get to 70 or 80% of the tokens being utilized in the network. And I think at that point, then the consideration would be, once the network is at full capacity, does it make sense to spin up a second network? That's the way I look at it. The tokens are capped. I mean, that's a hard cap. I mean, anything can happen. I just don't think I just think it would be simpler just to spin up another network and another token under the, a hypercycle 2, hypercycle something like that. But that'd be a great problem to have, because that means we all live in cloud cities. Cloud cities for the win. All right. Still waiting for an update on how to marry my hypercycle tokens to the license I purchased. You can do it right now. You realize, Abe, you can do it right now on our site. You shouldn't. There's no point doing it, but you can do it right now this second. And Hypercycle's out released videos that tell you how to do it. So both of those things you can do right now with a little bit of research, like a little tiny bit of research. You can marry them right now, this second. You shouldn't, because there's no point, but you could. All right. Is the buy 2 NFTs get 2? Yes, it is. Yes, if you don't want the ring, you get 2 node licenses. That's what you get. Woo woo. Matter of fact, if you buy 2, it's almost an automatic function. If we see someone purchase, like there was a 2 earlier. Someone went and they got 2. That 2 right there, 17 hours ago, is going to get 2 node licenses. See? Woohoo. All right. Let's see. See if I missed anything. We're doing so good. We've nailed so many questions. Yeah, so good, man. God. So good, honeycomb. You guys are sleeping on honeycomb. If you haven't eaten honeycomb, you ain't drugs. You don't need drugs. You don't need beer. What the world needs is some damn honeycombs. I am honeycomb insecure. I'm not happy about it. I'm going to try to buy one of those big boxes from Costco. I hope they have it. That would make me so happy. Big. I mean, big. Not, no. Yeah. Something big. Like the biggest, like softball player size. Softball players run a little heavy. You know what I'm saying? That's not hating. That's just stating. They big. All right. Wagon wheels look like mower. They look like skateboard wheels. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Do we have anything else, or should we call it a day? FDIC is broke. Well, technically the FDIC, they don't create, or they're funding. They're kind of like an insurance vehicle. I mean, they are an insurance vehicle, but they're kind of they're a virus. And also that whole process, gosh, we should do a show on that, how sketchy that whole thing is. Like when the FDIC, when Jamie Dimon was consulting on the FDIC takeover of a bank, and then he decided, I don't want to consult. I want to actually be one of the buyers. So he left the consulting side, went to the other side, and did a deal to purchase the bank. Oh, and lo and behold, it was a shared loss agreement where the U.S. government, us taxpayers, we agreed to accept equal portion of the losses with Chase. That's damn good of them. I remember when they asked me if I wanted to join up with Jamie Dimon to bail out a bank so that he could then strip mine the quality assets and shit can everything else and immediately take huge. Well, here's what they did. They took losses where it made sense, tax breaks, and they took profits where it made sense, make their shareholders happy. Aren't you guys glad that you guys all got compensated by this loss sharing agreement that JP Morgan Chase did with the FDIC? Totally legit, right? Sounds completely above board. Jesus, man. Anyway, are we on the verge of another too big to fail taxpayer funded bailout? Well, the cool thing is taxes don't mean anything anymore. So it's not like it's not like we're funding anything. Our taxes don't go anywhere. Our taxes don't even pay a tiny fraction of the current debt service. Money's pretty much bullshit. Taxes are more bullshit. It's all funny money now. It's like the modern monetary theory people, they were right for the wrong reasons. They certainly weren't right for any kind of math that they put forward, but they were right that governments print first, pay later, or don't. That's where we're at. Print first and never pay back. Go look up, after this show's over, go look up Jerome Powell on 60 Minutes saying the U.S. will never repay the debt. He just straight up said it. Like, then what's the point of taxes? Oh, for your roads. Bullshit. You guys just pay for it anyway. You guys just do what you want to do anyway. It's like, I'm not even being cynical. This is just the way it is. So no, I don't think there's going to be a taxpayer bailout because our taxes don't mean shit. That's how it'll be fought, on partisan lines, but it doesn't mean anything. So what? Print more money up. Who cares? I got Bitcoin. Print it all. Like actually print. Like go to town. Let's see what that looks like. Everybody will think that they're real estate rich. They're like, my house went up. It's worth $2 million. Your 800 square foot house, $2 million. Yeah, except that $2 million also buys you like a Volvo. Like things, like it all scales together, man. You don't win. The only time you win is when you go live in a third world country where they're like, just give us $8. We'll give you 17 acres and all the townspeople. We'll literally give you the people. $8. $8 is the price. Everywhere else, no. Yeah. So there we go. Okay. Let's see. Why not marry now? Freddie, God, are we doing this again? Freddie, they're tilling for you. There's no point to marry right now unless you want to use your own equipment to do tilling. But why would you want to do that? You don't need to. It's just an unnecessary frustration. You don't need to go forward with it. Tilling continues. We don't know that. They claim that. We don't know that. Wait till we know that. Everybody just don't do anything yet. All you got to do is have your tokens that you want to use for your licenses. Keep your tokens safe. Keep your licenses safe. And you good. You don't need to do anything else. Nothing. Nothing's the easiest thing to do. You know how you do it? Just don't. Do nothing. Not don't do nothing. Don't, comma. Do nothing. Capital do. Where's James? James capitalizes everything. We need him. Would it make sense? Yes, it would, because as the splits occur and there's more money being generated, then each token will be looked at for what kind of profit it might derive. And the market will square that away over what they think the token's worth based on what it can be valued at in production. But think about this. If you have a node that splits 10 times, those tokens, the relative value of those tokens is like $200 or something, like $290. I have a chart somewhere. We did all that a while back, but the point was that there will be a squeeze on the tokens, quite dramatic, once tokens are married to nodes and they disappear. That will happen. That's going to be awesome. That's why I'm trying not to sell any tokens. Because we try to keep just enough tokens on the exchange so that people can get into licenses as easy as possible. That's why we keep them. There's tons and tons of orders, but we always keep it above the current DEX market. We don't, I mean, anybody else can do whatever they want, but I'm not ever selling tokens below a 5% premium on the market. That's me. That's just me. All right. On that note, we could go on, and we will tomorrow, not today. Today, rejoice, for Bitcoin is over 70,000. Rejoice that Ethereum is, I mean, we say this, and in 3 years, Bitcoin will probably be $250,000, $500,000, and people will look back with fond regret. Don't be that pronoun. Anyway, stay in school, don't do drugs, don't do anything. I'm poor, insolvent, drunk, strung out on meth. Grandmother, who, by the way, was like a super crook. Did I tell you about that? She's a total grifter. She's like a con artist. She's total scam. I can say that because none of my scummy ass relatives. Oh, my brother is the exception. My brother and parents, but my like on her side of the family, on bad grandma's side of the family, it's a bunch of sketchy ass drunk lawyers. Whole family. Fuck them. All of them. Bunch of scumbags. But don't think I just say this here. I definitely say it to their face. And I have stopped getting Christmas cards because of it.